How long are you YouTubing?
Since September.
Oh, go on. You're a newbie. To all your fans, fuck off. To all your fans, fuck off.
What do you do when you're stuck money and your flight leaves in 5 hours? That's right. You head back to the casino and try to get it back. But we're here at the Bellagio. We're trying to run it up at the 5-10. We played 1-2, some 2-5, and 5-5 on this trip. So when you're stuck money, you move up in stakes, and that's what we're about to do. So we're gonna put our name down on the 5-10, and this could either make or break the trip. So let's see what happens. Wish me luck, and bring you guys along for the ride. So let's get it. Trying to get one more session in 2023. Just checked out of the hotel, left my bags at the bell desk, and walked over to the none other Bellagio. I was gonna choose another property to play at, just to switch it up a little bit, but I didn't really want to play a guessing game on if there was gonna be any bigger games going on. We knew we were gonna play 5-10, so could always count on the Bellagio to have that game or any type of game going on. And glad we did, because there was a few tables of 5-10 going on, and there wasn't even a list. So right away, we grab our chips and take our seat. We start the session off with a little over $2,100, not the Bellagio's $2,500 new max. A rookie move, I know, but Christmas presents were a little pricey this year. So if this session went south, had to leave with a little bit of money in my pocket. We're at a must move table, so we're only 6-handed. The first hand we get involved in, we're in the hijack with pocket 8s. It folds around to me, and we raise it up and make it 30. Both blinds make the call, so 3 ways to a flop, and it comes ace-9-4 rainbow. Not a good board for our exact hand, but really good for our perceived range. We should have all the bigger ace-X's, so when it's checked to me, I make a continuation bet, I throw out 50. The small blind gets out of the way, but the big blind is a non-believer, he makes the call. Onto a turn, it's the king of diamonds. It obviously doesn't improve us at all, but he doesn't know that. So when he checks to me for a second time, we're gonna continue our story, and we throw out another bet. We make it 130 this time. If he calls, we're unlikely to improve on the river, so we're probably gonna have to unload the clip if we wanna win this hand. But it doesn't come to that, because he folds his cards. So we get the first one through with 4th pair. It's weird how people think that every time you pick up the phone, they automatically made the vlog. But I was really just trying to capture the board, because I don't remember if it was a 4 of clubs or 4 of spades. And it could be a big difference depending on the situation of the hand. So I just wanted to be 100%. I wasn't gonna include this hand, but he was a cool guy. We got to chatting a little bit afterwards. So, sir, you made the vlog. Also, on a side note, the dealer even asked me afterwards if I was done filming so she can gather the cards and deal another hand. I think they're starting to understand and realize that poker vlogging has really come up in the past few years, so they're cooperating with us more and more. So it's really good to see. In this one, we're still short-handed. The hijack raises to 30, folds around to us in the big blind, and we look down at Jack-2 of diamonds. I think for the last 3 or 4 hands, we haven't even seen a flop. The blinds just chopped it up. So really just sick of chopped pots and closing the action. I throw in 20 more. Hoping to catch something good, and we do. We flop bottom 2 pair on an ace-jack-2 rainbow board. Hoping he has a big ace, or any ace-X for that matter. We check to him in flow, and he does throw out a bet, but he only makes it $20. $20 isn't enough for me. So we want to pump some more money in the middle while we know we're ahead. So I raise it up, I make it 80 to go. We'll be able to find out if he does have an ace or not. And we do find out, because he folds his cards, so he didn't have an ace. Maybe we should have slow played a little and just smooth called, but I'm happy with my play. The very next shuffle folds around to the button, who raises to 30. We're in the small blind, we look down at king, queen of spades. With all this passiveness and folding pre-flop, the button could just be taking advantage. He doesn't necessarily have to be at the top of his range, so we 3-bet and we make it 90. The big blind gets out of the way, back onto the button, and he actually 4-bets, he makes it 270 to go. Maybe he does have a hand after all. So yes, we're out of position, but we have a decent hand to play post-flop, and not backing down from a standard 3x 4-bet, so we call. And the flop comes, it's 10-7-2 rainbow. Not really hitting us at all. I mean, maybe backdoor straight, backdoor flush draw, but that's about it. But even if it did hit us, we're still gonna check and flow to him, so that's what we do, we check. He makes a continuation bet, he throws out 170. It's a significant down bet, less than a third pot. So with all our potentials, we decide to make the call and see a turn. And it's a 7 of clubs, pairing the middle card. Not a good card for us at all. I mean, maybe if it was a 10, I could have potentially let out and represented for trips, but now I can't even credibly represent much. So we decide to check to him. He continues the aggression and throws out a bigger bet this time. He makes it $610 and totally missing the board. Can't really do much. We just have to let it go. Moving on to this hand, we're in the big blind with pocket nines. The low jack raises to 30. The button makes the call. Action on me, and we can go either way with raising or smooth calling. But we just decide to take the lower variance route, be friendly, throw in 20 more, and see a flop. The dealer burns, and the flop is king 5-6 rainbow. I really thought that 6 was a 9, but then I blinked, and sure enough, it was a 6. So I check to the aggressor. The low jack, who initially raised 30, decides to check as well. The button takes it upon himself and bets out 50. I don't really see a situation where the low jack pre-flop raises to 30 and then checks a king high rainbow board and then just all of a sudden decides to check raise. So I just decide to make the call myself because I think he's gonna either fold or just call, but more than likely fold. Sure enough, as soon as I call, he gives his cards back to the dealer. So heads up to a turn and it's a 10 of spades. Again, so close, thinking it could have been a 9 of spades, but it wasn't. So I decided to check to the button, expecting him to throw out another bet, but he doesn't. He actually checks back. So onto a river, and it's the king of clubs. Here's where I have a decision to make. With him checking the turn, I don't think he has a king, and especially when the king comes on the river, it's less likely he has a king. So I could either lead out myself, and hopefully he calls down with a smaller pocket pair, or I can check and hopefully he bets with all his missed draws. There's only a few pairs that can maybe call a bet that we're beating, like 7s or 8s. There's much more combinations of missed flush draws and missed straight draws, like 7-8 or queen jack, that could potentially turn his hand into a bluff. So I think the best course of action is to check and hopefully he fires out. So that's what we do, but he decides to check back. We show our cards and our 9s are good. This next hand is interesting. Some new players filled the table, so we're now 8-handed, and some of the new players like to straddle, and some of them like to double straddle. So in this hand, the $40 straddle is on. At the Bellagio, the double straddle is live, unlike at the Aria, meaning the $40 straddle has last action. If you guys haven't checked that vlog out already, posted it maybe a couple weeks ago, play some 2-5 double straddle pots at the Aria. And we had to play them a little bit differently because the double straddle over there wasn't live. But over here, we have to play it a little straightforward. So the double straddle is on, folds to us in the cutoff, and we look down at pocket 5s. We don't want to really be smooth calling and then just having somebody easily squeeze. So we decide to be the aggressor and we raise, make it 100. It was a misclick. I really tried to make it 110. But now looking back, I probably should have just made it a standard 3x, made it 120, but we just make it 100. The button cold calls the 100, folds around to the double straddle, and closing the action, he throws in 60 more. Not ideal in between two opponents, but 3 ways to a flop, and it comes queen 10-3 rainbow. The under the gun 1 checks to me, and we're gonna represent over pairs, aces and kings. So we make a C bet, we throw out 140. We don't have to sweat too much because they both fold their cards, so easy game. It's a simple hand, but taking down a 20-40 pot with third pair, I will take it. About a half hour goes by and we actually get moved to another must move game, and there is definitely a lot more money at this table than the previous. We've been at the new table now for a little over an orbit, and we look down at pocket 10s and the hijack. It folds around to us, and we raise it up and make it 30. The button calls, and the small blind calls. So 3 ways to a flop. And it's 10-6-4 with 2 hearts.
When are you moving?
15, 20 minutes maybe?
You gotta pay me if you want to move in.
Maybe. I guess they didn't notice me when I sat down. It was a pretty talkative table, especially seat number 5, the one you just heard. He's from Ireland, in case you didn't catch the accent. But yeah, it was only around 15 minutes tops, so I guess my image at this new table is already the one of a tight player. So yeah, like I said, the flop is 10 high, so we flop top set. Not a bad position to be in. So when the small blind checks to me, I make a C-bet and I throw out 50. The button, the guy from Ireland, throws his cards away, but the small blind makes the call. So heads up, in position, to a turn, and it's the 8 of clubs. We get downgraded a little bit. A few straights get there, like 9-7 and 5-7, but we still have the 3rd best hand. So when he checks to me, we continue the aggression and we throw out 110. Gotta charge him for all his flush draws and now potentially straight draws to go along with it. He just makes the call, so I highly doubt he has 2 pair or better, because 2 pair or better probably should have raised. So now we're just hoping for non-heart on the river or straight card. And the river is not a heart, but it's another straight card. It's a jack of clubs. But when he checks to me for a 3rd time, I highly doubt he has a straight. So now we just gotta come up with the right sizing to bet. There's a little over $400 in the middle, and the sizing we come up with is one that maybe a hand like Jack 9 of hearts or Jack 7 of hearts, or a hand that connected with a jack somehow can call, and that number is 300. But he probably had flush draw no pair because he snap folds. We couldn't get all 3 streets of value, but it's still nice flopping top set and holding. In this next hand we're gonna go over, we're on the button and it folds around to me again. Shocker. I think every single hand that we've gone over so far have been the same situation. It's folded around to me no matter what position I was in. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just think I've said it's folded around to me a lot already. But regardless, we raise it up to 30. Only the big blind makes the call, so heads up to a flop. And it comes Jack 4-6 rainbow. We flop a little piece, bottom pair. So when he checks to me, I make a C-bet, I throw out 30. He makes the call for 30. Onto a turn, and it's the 4 of hearts. Bringing in the backdoor flush draw, but giving us a disguised trips. So when he checks to me, I'm not really scared of any river cards. So I think checking back and showing a little weakness, or hopefully he perceives it as weakness, because I shouldn't really have any 4s in my range, except the one that I do have, ace-4 suited. So I decided to get a little sneaky and check it back. So onto a river, and it's a brick, it's a 9 of spades. All the draws miss, and even better, because he actually leads for $30. I'm like, all right. Now it's just a question on how greedy do I want to be and how much to raise. With that $30 lead, there's around $150 in the middle. So I just decided to go around 4x and make it 130, hoping he caught 2 pair on the river, like 6-9 or Jack 9. He thinks for a few seconds and makes the call. I show my cards and we take it down. We'll never know what he had. The speed on which he called, he might have had a bigger 2 pair, but he could have just been a non-believer because he was a pretty aggressive opponent. And my line didn't really make much sense by checking the turn, but it allowed us to get a little bit extra value there on the river. The last hand we're gonna go over, we're on the button again, and this time it did not check to me because the hijack raises himself. He makes it 30 to go. The cutoff folds, and we look down at pocket aces. We announce raise and throw out 1 black. The blinds quickly get out of the way, and the hijack makes the call for 70 more. So heads up to a flop, and it comes Queen 7 Jack rainbow. Yeah, rainbow board, but not really fist pumping about it. He shouldn't really have pocket queens, but pocket jacks is definitely a possibility, or queen jack suited. So there's a few hands we have to be worried about, but the hijack checks to me, and I make a continuation bet. I throw out 70. I have the nut advantage. I'm the only one that could have top set and representing all over pairs, aces and kings. He makes the call for 70, and onto a turn, it's the 8 of hearts. Brings in the backdoor flush draw and introduces some straights and more 2 pair combinations. So when he checks to me for a second time, we're gonna exercise some pot control and check it back. So onto a river, and it's the 8 of diamonds, pairing the board. He thinks about it for about 5 seconds and actually leads for 2 blacks, $200. His line doesn't make too much sense, checking twice and then leading river on a paired board. But if he happened to get lucky to hit trips on the river, then he deserves it. But I basically snap call this bet. He flips over his cards pretty confidently, and I actually take a minute to see what he has, and he has 9-6 of spades. All those cards are pretty close to the ones on the board, so I'm like, does he have trips or a straight? And then I realize he has nothing. He has 9 high. So I flip over my cards and we win. He had backdoor flush draw on the flop with the spades and backdoor straight draw. But then when the 8 came on the turn, he had open-ended straight draw, but it went check, check. And when he missed everything, he knew he had to bet something to take down the pot. But I just happened to be at the top of my range.
How long are you YouTubing?
Since September.
Oh, gone. You're a newbie.
Pretty much. I mean, I've been an athlete all my life, so I've always watched game film.
No, I'm not about the YouTube, but the cards.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of explaining my story, you know?
Yeah, sorry.
And I just, I mean, that's...
I'm a bit blunt sometimes.
And I've watched these guys, and I mean, you pick up things, strategy, whatever, and...
To all your fans, fuck off.
Yeah?
To all of your fans, fuck off.
All right, there you go. That'll make it. What a character seat number 5 is, huh? You never know the different types of people you're going to meet in Vegas, but it's all in good fun. We play for a couple more orbits after this, but nothing really interesting happened. So we rack up our chips, head to the cage, cash out, and that concludes the final session of 2023. That is it, guys. Another session down, another trip down to Vegas, and last one of 2023. It's been a good year, a lot of ups and downs, not just with poker, but with life in general. But that's to be expected. It's good to end on a positive note. I'll get into the numbers right quick. In for 2150, out for 2712. So profit of 550, 562, the exact number. So pretty good way to end the trip. Not gonna complain. Played for about 3.5 hours and didn't have too long because again, my flight's here in a little bit. So yeah, I gotta head to the airport. I don't know how it is with 5 o'clock traffic here. So don't really wanna be in that rush hour and miss my flight. That would kind of suck. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably be after New Year's. So Merry Christmas. Hope you guys had a good holiday season and Happy New Year. Let's see what 2024 has to offer. But God bless all you guys. And remember, I'm Matty Ice. This is Gaines Poker. Peace out.